All right, hello everyone. This week we are continuing with our lesson on Unity, and we are going to make this awesome picture of with an outer space theme. You have your little astronaut and a rocket ship and some planets and stars, and the Unity comes through here because of the subject matter. It all has to do with astronauts and outer space. You also have some Unity with the style that we will draw and outline and color. It's kind of a whimsical, cartoonish, simple kind of drawing. So, and I talk about it a little more as we're working on this throughout the video. So you will need a piece of paper, pencil, Sharpie if you have one, eraser, and something to color with. I used crayons and markers. So get your stuff together and let's get to work. Okay, so just like we've done many times before, we're going to start out by folding our paper in half and make a nice crease. Then I'm going to fold it in half a second time and make a nice crease, and then open it up and flatten it out. And for this project, our paper is going up and down. All right, then we will switch to our pencil and we are going to begin drawing. Now we are going to start with this top left section, and right about here I am going to draw an oval for my astronaut's helmet. Okay, it's going to be touching this line just a little bit, and it's going to be about this size. So notice again how I'm drawing it light and sketchy, because that way I can get the shape I'm wanting by going back over it. You can make it wider, you can make it thinner, you can also erase it a lot easier. I think it's a little too much of an oval. I think I need to bring it in just a bit there to make it a little more rounded. Not quite so ovalish. And then I can go back over it and keep the shape that I want. All right. Next, I am going to draw what appears to almost be like a little squished oval, like that. Okay, and then it's going to be what appears to be almost a half oval coming down, almost like half of a little capsule or something. And that's going to be our part of our little astronauts, I almost said costume, but suit, not a costume. You can tell it's close to Halloween right now. All right, so now we're going to begin with the arms and the legs. So I'm going to have a couple little lines coming out here, and it's just the beginning of the arms. Same thing over here. All right, and then down here and over here. All right. Okay, now I'm going to make them a little bit longer, not too terribly much. And then we're going to make the little like space boots. And it's not an overly complex shape or anything. And then like the little space gloves. And I'm not going to worry about having the correct number of fingers, because we're not being scientists here, we're just having fun and being artists. Now one thing I recommend doing is doing some little curved lines like this, because that helps show, if you've ever noticed on a spacesuit, it's almost like what you see on a pipe or a hose where they can move and bend, because of course that's important. And so that's what those little curved lines kind of suggest. It also helps it look a little more three-dimensional. Then we're going to make a little kind of like a control panel of sorts here, Maybe this monitors their oxygen and maybe their heart rate and who knows what else. I'm just kind of making a little blob in here. And then of course we need the part that they look out for their face shield. And it's just like a rectangle with curved edges. Then I'm going to make little kind of half circles here. So, not ears, but it's like part of his helmet. And let's see, I think that's pretty much it. We're going to have this part of his helmet just be dark. We're not going to see his or her face or anything. All right, so now we're going to come down here and we're going to make a little rocket. Now the rocket is going to poke up just above this folded middle line just a little bit. You can see I'm kind of sketching that out there, and it's about the length of this section. Again, notice how I'm doing it really nice and sketchy, because that way I can go back over it and adjust it until I'm happy with my shape and my size. All right, so I'm going to bring this a little more centered so I can have my little cute rocket ship. And the bottom of it, and then you have the little, saying wing doesn't feel right, but it's kind of like a wing. I mean, wing might be right, I'm not sure. It's clear I'm not a rocket scientist. Let me smooth that out a bit there. Okay, and we're going to have a couple of stripes. Again, notice how I'm making them curved. That gives the illusion of it having form or being three-dimensional. I'm just realizing this wing came out way too far, so I'm going to fix that. Again, another reason to draw light till you know you have it right. And then I'm going to make a little round window here, and then it's part of the like window frame here. All right, and let's see, I'm thinking here. We need down here, I'm not exactly sure what this would, if this would be like the part of the landing gear or more wings. But I do know for sure we want some fire coming out here. All right, when we color that, that'll give it the illusion of fire. All right, we're going to have a little planet up here. It's probably going to be kind of an Earth-like planet. In fact, I think we will just make it Earth. So I'm going to make a circle here. And again, notice how I'm doing it nice and sketchy. Okay, then I can sketch out the little continents and planets. And I'm not going to try to make it like super realistic or anything. It's just more of an organic kind of blob shape. Down here we'll have kind of a Saturn-ish planet. So if it's going to be like Saturn, it needs to have rings. All right, and then we need a few stars. I'm going to put a star here. Let's put another star up here. And a star down here. And here. And remember, what we're learning about this week is unity. Unity is one of the building blocks of art, and that is when you're making a picture, you want the things to go together and belong together. And what gives unity to this picture is that it is all outer space themed. you know, you have your astronaut, your rocket ship, your planets, your stars, and they're going to be floating around in space. So the unity in this picture is the subject. Okay. All right, now we're going to switch to our Sharpie. If you don't have a Sharpie, you can use a black crayon or a regular black pen, and we are going to outline everything. All right, so taking my Sharpie, I'm going to outline everything. And outlining everything will not only make everything look bold and better, it will give everything the same style or the same look, which will help our unity that we were just talking about. Because if everything has the same sort of style and look, that also gives it unity. Like if I drew, you know, my little astronaut in this kind of almost cartoon style and outlined it with my Sharpie, and then I went down here and did my rocket ship and I made it look super realistic and three-dimensional and like an incredible painting, that would kind of mess up the unity, because they would, even though they're outer space themed, they would look like they don't belong together, because it would look like two different artists made it. And so that's another way you can give unity, is with the style, the subject area, color, you know, using similar colors, like if you picked a color scheme. And your materials can help give it unity. Not completely by themselves, like just because you colored the whole picture with crayon doesn't necessarily mean it has unity, but it helps. It can make it stronger as far as the unity goes. Alright, and I'm almost done with my Sharpie here. As always, if I'm going a little too fast and you're like, oh, I'm not anywhere near being done with my Sharpie, it is totally fine to hit pause so that you can catch up with me. There is no shame in that whatsoever. Alright, so now hopefully the next step, hopefully you're screaming it at the screen, because the next step would be to erase the pencil. Alright, so I'm using my white pearl eraser. You could also use a pink pearl. You could also use the one on the end of your pencil, but the white pearl is just my personal favorite. But any of those would be fine. And what I'm doing is just any pencil that's still peeking out behind the Sharpie, I am erasing it. It's a good idea to do that before you color. It just cleans it up a little. Same thing if you were painting. You'd want to clean it up a little, because especially once you start coloring, and like, you know, especially say you were using marker, once you go over that pencil with your regular like Crayola markers, it's pretty much there forever. It's too late to erase at that point. You are stuck with the pencil. And if that's the worst thing that happens, life's pretty good. Alright. Just about got it all nice and cleaned up here. Alright, now when you color, you can use whatever you want to color, especially if you're at home. You can use crayons, markers, colored pencils. I'm going to use a lot of markers because I want it to look really nice and bold. For example, with my little earth here, I'm using marker. On my stars, I'm going to use marker. On my astronaut, I'm definitely going to use marker, except for the parts of his suit that I want to be white. Hopefully it's pretty obvious to you that I would just leave that alone. I would just leave it white. Alright, so I am going to fast forward. I'm going to go ahead and color the things that I am going to color with marker. If you want to go ahead and do the same on yours and color what you want to color with marker, and then you can come back and I will show you what I'm going to do with crayon or colored pencil. Alright, if you're not certain what you want to color with marker and what you want to color with crayon, then don't hit pause just yet. Wait, let me fast forward with my marker coloring and I'll show you what I did, and then that would probably be the perfect time for you to go ahead and hit pause and finish your coloring. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward with my marker coloring right now. Okay, so now you can see what I chose to color with marker, and it was pretty much everything except for the outer space part. And I want to do that with crayon because, you know, choosing to do a really large space with marker can be very risky because, one, the marker could dry out, and two, it tends to show your marker strokes and stuff a little too much, and it makes it really hard to make it look nice and neat. So I chose some darker blues and purples and even a little bit of black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color my sky. Or my outer space technically. I'm going to do one color at a time, and I'm going to layer them with the colors that you see here. So this is like kind of a dark bluish purple. This is also a little more blue, and I'll be able to go on top of that with this, and then I'll go on top of it with a little bit of purple, and then finally with a little bit of black. Oh, and my lights just went out. All right, so I'm going to fast forward with that so that you can see how it turns out. If you're not comfortable with the layering of the colors, that's fine. You can just do one color. But, oops, wrong blue. Those look so identical. All right, so I will come back. Maybe I'll just do this blue first and come back. I'll fast forward to do that. Okay, so now I did a layer all over with this kind of bluish purple. I know on the camera it kind of looks black, so you'll have to just take my word for that one. And now I have this one that it looks like a dark blue, but it actually is a dark blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another layer on top of what I just did with this darker blue. I'm not trying to cover every teeny tiny bit with it because I want to show a little bit of that bluish purple that I put as the first layer. So I'm going to cover a little light layer all over my background with this, and I'll fast forward so you can see how it turns out. Okay, so now I added a light layer all over of this dark blue, and now I'm going to take a purple. This is just the darkest purple I have, and I'm going to go over the whole thing and add a little layer of the purple. Again, I'm not trying to make it solid because I want to still be able to see some of that bluish purple and some of that dark blue. And again, I'm just kind of layering it over it. And again, if you're not comfortable with this, you can just pick one color your background. There's no shame in that. And it may not come off very well on the camera, but in real life you can see it. Too bad you're not here actually in the room where you could see it. So I'm going to fast forward to do my layer of dark purple. Okay, so now I am adding a little bit of the black here and there. I'm trying to find like some of the lighter areas that didn't get a lot of color, and I'm going over those with the black more because you don't want to have a lot of white spots necessarily, because you know in outer space you don't have a lot of white with the exception of like being able to see little stars off in the distance and stuff. But I don't want to go too crazy cuckoo with the black because I don't want it to get too terribly dark. I want to still be able to see some of those blues and some of those purples. So again, I'm just going to kind of do a light, soft layer all over the whole, entire background. So again, I will fast forward and come back when I'm finished. Okay, and so there is my outer space picture. And again, we were learning about Unity this week. And here you have Unity and the subject matter, that it all has to do with astronauts and planets and rocket ships, outer space. And you also have some Unity in the style with the way it's drawn and outlined and colored in. And I'm looking forward to seeing yours. I think some of you are really going to enjoy this project, and I can't wait to see how they turn out. So have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.